Alrighty, got my third match of the season after a 4-2 and a 2-4. I believe I am batting even, so a win here would be nice. What's going on here? For draw, we got Hireling, Mapmaker, potentially Cursed Village, although with minimal thinning. Looks like Cursed Village would be pretty bad here. Gears draw, Swashbutterers draw. Village looks like the best village. Cursed Village is also a village. Highway exists, but there's no plus buy, so Highway looks much worse than usual, probably. I'm contemplating a deck that plays 7 highways and then just butterflies all of its actions into provinces. That could be a thing. In fact, that might be the thing to do. I'm just looking at this kingdom and thinking, there's otherwise no way at all to get, look at the landscapes. I don't see any other way to get multiple provinces in a turn. You can build a little bit with Importer, which can gain you all the cheap stuff. Cannot gain you hirelings directly, but could gain a 5, which you turn into a hireling with Way of the Butterfly. So option A, build a deck that aims for a single province. I think that's probably like a pair of importers, some villages and swashbucklers. You have a few coffers to get you to 8 consistently, and you're adding a 5 or so to your deck consistently. You could probably start provincing fairly early. And then that deck could also get some duchies in the end game. Option B would be trying to nab a ton of highways, and then you butterfly all your stuff in the provinces all at once. I think that's sounding worse to me here because that deck would specifically be good at getting provinces all at once, but it seems slower, I think. You gotta play a bunch of highways and play a bunch of other actions terminally at the end of your turn. And the trouble, I think, is if the other deck gets a majority of the provinces, there's not enough provinces left for that mega turn to do much. So I think the goal is probably single province plus some importer gains, I believe. I've got Mountain Folk. Can trigger this immediately turn 1 because we have extra favors off of Importer. I think I like Yurikamame's opening here. I could do Mountain Folk, probably hit 5 or 6, and then buy something expensive, but these don't look like things you need to get immediately. 6 for an early hireling would be okay, but there's a greater than 50% chance to draw the third estate and only hit 5. I think I like the idea of Importer, then Mountain Folk here, which I expect, yeah. Importer, like mini duration cards, is a card you'd much rather see turn 3 than turn 4. I both see turn 3 means it doesn't miss the shuffle and stay out of play, but it also means the card you gain off of Importer is going back into your shuffle because you gain it turn 4 instead of turn 5. And so this order allows you to guarantee you see the Importer turn 3, conceivably turn 2. Yurikamome finds it turn 2. But if you don't find it turn 2, you'll at least see it turn 3, and then either way you're getting the gain before you shuffle your deck again, which is a pretty big deal. First Village, I don't believe in that. And it looks like Yuri's immediately punished for it. The copper hurts you with no thinning. Cursed Village is one of the less impactful Doom cards that give out hexes, because a lot of the hexes just don't hurt you in the buy phase when you gain it. Like the discarded attacks usually don't matter. I didn't get the slightly better draw, but this is still a fine draw. What do I want? I kind of just want to buy a village. I want villages and swashbucklers, but I think buying a swashbuckler there had a real risk of colliding with my importer, which I didn't want. Village, usually the reason not to get villages early is because they're not doing anything for you yet. But village is the friendly card, and so if I have a hand like this, I can just use the village to get another village, which seems pretty good. I have 2 importers already. I have 2. This is either buy a village, gain a village, or buy a gear, gain a village. I think. Take it out of the gear. 2 makes me sad. There's a lot of good 3s. I'd rather hit 3 than 2. Yeah, second swashbuckler makes sense to me. And I get to trigger. I'm happy. So I could just play the gear, set aside, gain a village off of this village. Or I could play the village, play the gear, play the second importer, which is probably better, getting the importer into play. I don't have a third village down there, though. I think I'm just going to do it this way. The trouble I thought I was going to have is I was going to trigger a shuffle, I'd have a swashbuckler on top, and an importer gain, which would mean my swashbuckler gives me a coffer, but I don't think I had any villages down there. And so whatever, I would play the swashbuckler and then my turn would end. I didn't like that. Let's just gain some more villages. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Where are my villages now? I have so many villages in the deck. Why can't they be in this hand? I'm not sure which of these is best to play. Gear has the upside of I can set a bunch of stuff aside. Swashbuckler would give me a coffer. Potentially draws me a village to gain the final village if there's one left. Importer, I would rather play it now than next turn because then it gets me a gain into the shuffle. I think I'm leaning towards Swashbuckler, but we'll see what Yuri does. If Yuri takes both of the last two villages, Swashbuckler starts to look a lot less appealing because a lot of the upside is potentially drawing a village and gaining off of friendly. Oh, there's no live commentary. I'm going to go ahead and join a voice channel. Okay, what am I gaining here? I think it's third Swashbuckler. I don't want too many terminals, actually. I've only got so many villages. I think the answer is still Swashbuckler. Theoretically, I could butterfly a Swashbuckler into Hireling, get that into play, and that reduces my terminal space over the long term. I would love it if I could activate the treasure chest. It's usually a fool's errand trying to go for it because it activates too slowly to matter. But this is a kingdom I wouldn't be unhappy to have a few goals in the deck because I just want to be hitting 8 consistently from about here on out. See, I could see taking a Cursed Village potentially right about now just because the normal villages are out, but Cursed Village just seems worse than Village to me. Uh-oh. Oh god. Okay, we might be fine. Didn't unfortunately get to activate those. It's always a bit scary when you see all your villages on top, because if you don't draw into a draw card, then that also suggests you have a bunch of terminal action cards and no villages coming up in the second turn, and that's just 2 straight duds. Fortunately, it didn't quite end up there. Did buy a hireling? I suppose. There's also a decent argument for having a few 4 costs in the deck, like Mapmaker or Conspirator, because those can be butterflied into Duchy late in the game for additional points. I should think about picking up 1 or 2 of those. Yeah, you know what, actually? I probably have been undervaluing Mapmaker. With a bunch of junk, drawing 2 cards of your choice is about as good, at least, as drawing 3 cards outright with Swashbuckler. They're about to be non-terminal a lot of the time with Yuri buying provinces soon. They can be butterflied into duchies, but also something to think about is, like, let's say I have Mapmakers in my hand and no village. You could always butterfly one of your Mapmakers into a duchy and then trigger the other ones in your hand. It would be a nice little interaction. I think Mapmaker's sounding pretty decent. Yeah, I'm just going to take a Mapmaker now. I believe. Uh, let's see if I can activate this. It might be possible. Butterfly this into another Mapmaker just to put something into my discard. That's the main reason to do that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have played that gear that way. Gear. Okay, so at least this turn I'll activate Treasure Chest. And I'd like to start buying provinces this turn. Once I've got the 4 coffers, Yuri's Not that close to taking treasure chest back. So I can probably afford to spend the coffers to buy province even if I don't hit 8. And then I'll at least have a few turns of treasure chest probably. And 1 or 2 golds is fine. Even if I like burn all 4 coffers to buy province, Yuri takes it and I can't take it back again. Because only one person can have the chest at a time, so like if I hit 4 coffers and activate it, then Yuri hits 4 coffers, he'll steal it from me. I'm not too worried about losing it. If I hold onto it for even like 1 turn, that's fine. I don't need a million golds. Treasure chest, not treasure chest. Chariot race seems like a fine card here. A few extra points could matter. Your opponent has junk cards in the deck, so it'll just randomly hit a decent number of times when they top deck coppers. It just seems hard to justify over village or gear or order. There's a lot of other good 3s that it's competing with. More map makers, I believe. Go Swashbutterer. Oh, map maker can also activate Swashbutterer for me, because this is going to put stuff into my discard. And now my Swashbutterers are going to be active again. Even more coffers. Yeah, this is looking lovely. So I think probably just play the hireling, play the importer, play the gear. Do nothing with the map makers. I'd rather these be in my deck, I think, so they could trigger off of Yuri's turn. Not 100% on that. I could, like, if I buy province, I could always just butterfly the map makers myself directly into duchies on my turn. But I think it's too early to want a bunch of duchies. That's something I should retain the option of doing later in the game. Yuri takes a chariot. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, I have a majority of the villages, so it makes sense that Yuri might have a greater need for non-terminal cards over an extra gear. Sure, I'll take those. Yeah, I'm just never going to miss province again, I don't think, with this many coffers in my deck. Love the idea of setting aside a village. I don't need 9 money. I'm just going to click this to clear out the shuffle. Add a junk card on top. Still don't want the duchies yet. So Yuri will probably trigger this for me, but even if he doesn't, I got a village coming in, so this hand is actually quite fine. I should watch out for pileouts. I mean, I don't think Yuri's threatening to pile out, but I should watch out for the ability for me to pile out on Mapmaker and Swashbutterer. Unfortunately, if you do something like Butterfly Mapmakers into Swashbutterers, these go back to their pile, and so you'd be making one of those piles higher at the cost of producing the other one. Okay, yeah, Yuri is taking a bunch of duchies. All right about now, I think I can consider taking some more duchies. I don't really need the coffers. I was trying to hold off on playing the Swashbuckler until I could activate this, but maybe that's just a little bit silly. 9 coffers is more than enough. Let's not be greedy. Yeah, I think I'm just going to take 4 duchies so that Yuri can't come back on duchies to overcome the province deficit. And I'm probably not going to be drawing my deck reliably from here on out. That's fine, because I've got a huge points lead, and with very few duchies left, it's not going to be possible for him to overcome this points deficit. I'll be hitting province every single turn from now on. And I'll also be able to get at least one of these last duchies off of this map maker. Actually, that's not necessarily true. If he were to like butterfly into a duchy and trigger a map maker off of that duchy gain, your own reaction cards resolve first on your turn and then your opponent's. Yeah, so he can get the last 2 like that. I was gonna say I was guaranteed to get one duchy because when he triggered the first, I could trigger mine. But if he gains one and reacts, he gets to take both. It's not gonna matter, I don't think. This is a big enough points lead to be, I think, easily insurmountable. Even when Duchy's gone, I think Mapmaker continues to be a good card. I think I like the idea of taking Swashbuckler, though, just to lower the piles. Now I can also win, but it's like playing an Importer and buying a Swashbuckler. I have too many coffers. Alright, yeah, that Importer is going to be a guaranteed win. Yep. GG.